Okay, today we're going to talk about Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and the importance that this has, especially today. Because I feel like we live in a fake world. We live in a world where people try to dress up things and make everything so perfect. And if anything, this is more indication that we need to read works like this, works that explore the darkness in humanity. If you want to just see how much nonsense is in the world, you want to see how much, we try to gloss over things, just look at how popular, what is it, true crime is, or Dexter, or The Sopranos, or Breaking Bad, and what makes these stories interesting, what makes these stories compelling. You would think, oh, it's just because there's somebody that likes to break the rules and this and this and this, but why is it so popular in mass? Why is it so popular among all of us? And it's because it speaks to the darkness in all of us. It speaks to the true nature of life. And when we aren't expressing our life in that aspect, we find a outlet through it, through media. This is exactly what Freud was talking about when he said, your dreams are you living out your fantasies just as well as your media, the things you're drawn to, the things that you're fascinated by. And what really makes Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde so significant is that there's no separation, is that they're not two different people. When Dr. Jekyll takes the drug that turns him into Mr. Hyde, it doesn't change who he is. He's the same person, but now he has a guilt-free pass to do whatever he wants. And he allows his evil to take over him. He allows the darkness inside of him to take hold. And he tries to just be basically an asshole in the beginning, but it escalates. It becomes worse and worse and worse. It becomes a force he can't control. It becomes a force that consumes him. It becomes a force that destroys everything that he once was. And it's so fascinating that, what's this guy's name? Robert Louis Stevenson. I was going to guess. I knew it was Stevenson. I didn't know the first two names, but it's so interesting that this book was written before the genesis of Freud or Jung or any of the other psychologists who kind of confirmed this dual nature of man, this mask that we wear to be part of society, these identities that we hide behind, this true nature to the world that we oftentimes don't like to admit. And I think it's never been more important than ever to read stories like this because it shows who we really are. And without the acceptance of who we really are, without the acceptance that we can do something wrong, then we are subject to do something wrong. If you know you have a temper, then when you're starting to get aggravated, you have to remove yourself from the situation. Because if you don't, you're going to blow up and things are going to get bad. You might say something you don't want to say. You might do something you really wouldn't do otherwise. And, because you're aware of it, you can curtail it. Because you're aware of it, you can control it. But if you don't recognize your own capacity to do wrong, then you can never correct the behavior. And what I want you to analyze is, think about a person in your life, maybe it's a politician, maybe it's a friend, maybe it's a family member that loses control, that it's always the other person's fault, that society has pushed them down, that nothing in their world is their fault, and because of that, they are jaded. Because of that, their entire lives, they go through this world blaming everyone else, and everything wrong that happens to them, they have no responsibility in it. That is Dr. Jekyll. That is Mr. Hyde. That is the darkness inside of all of us. That is the capacity to do wrong because you think that because the world hurts you, you can hurt other people. And we really need to start recognizing these aspects in ourselves. We really need to start recognizing this projection that we put into the world and start curtailing it because, I don't know about you, but if someone does me wrong, that doesn't mean I have to do wrong to someone else. Maybe I'm justified. Maybe I'm completely right in doing it. Maybe I'm completely right in feeling that way. But is it right for me to harm someone else because something did me wrong in the past? I would say no. And you know what? We can all have these excuses. We can all have these copes. We can all do all of these things, but it doesn't get us anywhere. It doesn't progress society forward. It doesn't progress ourselves forward. It doesn't make our communities better. It doesn't make us better. And that's what we should aspire to. And that's what Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde is talking. It's talking about the darkness inside of us, the capacity to do evil, the ability to go for that impulse and allow it to become stronger and stronger and stronger and become wicked and wicked and wicked and wicked. And without the recognition that we have this inside of us, we can never use it for good. I need you to understand, I say this often, but your emotions are just energy. You can impart it into things that are meaningful or you can impart it into things that aren't meaningful. And what I mean by this is, let's say you're spending all day thinking about someone that you don't like. You spend all day trying to get revenge on someone that you despise. Maybe it's an ex, maybe it's someone that did you wrong. I don't care who it is. But let's say you spend all that energy. Now you have that much less energy to give to the people you love. How much better off would you be spending that energy onto a fruitful relationship instead of one that breaks you down, instead of one that isolates you, that takes you away from everything that means something to you? And that's really the solution here. It's that you need to curtail your more negative impulses into something better. You know, Freud said something very insightful. It's I don't oftentimes agree with Freud, but what he said basically was that you need some sort of creative endeavor. You need some sort of creative outlet. You need something that you could put your more negative impulses into that will eventually become good. So for a lot of young men, jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, the gym, you know, for some other people that aren't as physically like physical things don't stimulate them as much. Perhaps it could be painting, perhaps it could be poetry, reading, writing, those sorts of endeavors, any sort of creativity, any sort of way to express what isn't being expressed. And I think that's the path forward. And I think if we start embracing these ideas, we have a whole lot better of lives for ourselves, but for other people as well. So that's the implication of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Hopefully you enjoy this. If you want me to do more videos like this, maybe analyze it in different contexts, maybe go into more detail about the exact instances of the book, I can do that as well. Just let me know. But with that said, I love you guys so much. Thank you guys so much. If you want to read my book that I just wrote, the first link in the description should be that. That said, I love you guys. Again, I feel like I just said that, but thank you so much for the support recently. It means the world to me. I don't know what else to say aside from thank you. So, peace out.